Hello, thank you, and welcome. Bradley LeNart here again, the author of Your Path to Greatness and Activating the Law of Attraction. So today we move on to AudioCast number 4. In the last audio, we spoke about your greatest resource and your hours of potential. Today, I promised we'd speak about the power of the word and the benefits of meditation. But first, I really feel the need to just connect with some of those people who are leaving great messages at the blog and the website in particular. And yes, also at Facebook too, but more private messaging there coming through of people taking note to the success-driven, forward-thinking spiritual message I now convey. You know, it's such a deep privilege for me to connect with like-minded, forward-thinking people and old friends, and even people I went to high school with. And I feel that we are somehow connected, and it is my duty to curate this ongoing search towards our path to greatness together. Thank you. Now, I'd like to go over that in my theory and a little bit about vibrational energy and how we can use it to activate the laws of attraction. It could be very useful. You see, at the website, we're getting messages from different countries already. And this really stands true with the theory that I had that I shared with you all in one of my earliest videos that goes parallel with a method often used in the financial world, a method known as the Elliott wave. Now, what is the Elliott wave? Well, like I said in that video, it really is not even a theory, it's a method because it's proven that human beings in the world and societies and people collectively, as a gross generalization, tend to go through waves of optimism, then also waves of pessimism. Now, these are slight variances and subtle little shifts throughout society. And dependent upon a number of other specific different variables, say that 10 times, we can kind of predict what types of information people will be attracted to in the up and coming years ahead. So this is not only very exciting, but useful, especially for entrepreneurs or success seekers or just want to do well. I mean, just take a look at America the past 7, 8, 9 years. It started with the housing bubble. Then from there, the depreciation of the dollar, which continues, right? Jobs were lost, the economy tanked, and I'm not here to speak economics. However, if we pay attention and know the Elliott wave, we can predict what types of information we should be focused upon in order to really thrive in the exciting years ahead. Statistics tell us there will be more self-made millionaires made in America over the next 10 years than ever in history. So think about that. How is this possible, but yet so many people are still stuck within a scarcity mindset? Well, rightfully so, because those people have bought into a paradigm. Now, a paradigm is a set of beliefs, and one of the basic, most important key human needs is the need for a sense of congruency within a human's identity. And a human being will attain that congruency through their convictions, otherwise known as their beliefs. And all too often, people will buy into a set of beliefs or a paradigm on the unconscious level, and then hold on to those beliefs as the world changes around them, then find themselves in a very difficult spot. Those of you who know my work, you know I don't like to look at the world as just black or white. I look at it as ever-changing, and that is exactly what we're starting to see. You see, I'm here to tell you we now live in a new and a different age. We now live in a new and a different economy. This is the new age of the entrepreneur. This is the age of the creative and the person who is willing to go out there and be fully responsible for their own personal economy, developing multiple streams. Operatively automated streams of income to fall back on, who will not only prevail, but will also have the ultimate security and the wealth. And perhaps your goal is not to be a self-made millionaire. However, we all want to thrive and do well for ourselves, our friends, and our family. You see, it's not about the wealth, it's not about the finances, it's about creating an enchanted life. And we live on a planet of massive abundance and within a country of massive opportunities, regardless of what the media tells you. Yes, resources can change form just as the world changes, but money doesn't just disappear. It changes hands. Yes, it can depreciate, but only relevant to the gold or the silver that backs it up. It is those people who are willing to use the principle of neuroplasticity, learning new skills quicker, and who are willing to change with the world who will prevail. There is plenty of resources, and contrary to some people's belief, if we do well financially as individuals, there is not less for others. In fact, when we become financially free, we begin to create more opportunities for others, so it's worth striving for. Look, someone like Richard Branson employs thousands of people, giving them food on their table and opportunities for their children. Don't believe the hype, my friends. If we take care of this part of our life, we show up at our greatest potential and we have more to give. Now, the media focuses mostly on negativity, limitation, and fear. They do this because they know anything that is shocking, fear-based, or anything that pertains to our survival, we human beings will pay attention to. Anything we pay attention to equals ratings for them, which turns into money in their pocket. However, society tends to reach these thresholds, and at a certain point, people really do get fed up with hearing about how the sky is falling. They get fed up with the doom and gloom. They come across a simple forward-thinking message like mine or Brendon Burchard's or Tony Robbins, and it feels slightly different, refreshing if you will. Once a certain amount of people begin to think this way, a critical mass is reached, and then a new wave is formed, hence the Elliott wave. In that old paradigm that says the only way to attain security and wealth is to go to school, get a degree, get out, get a job or a job, which can pretty much land you just over broke in this new age, sound familiar? Can still absolutely work for people, especially if you're involved with the medical field and things like that. And I'm obviously not here to put down academia. However, we are now in the age of the entrepreneur and multiple streams of income. Even those who hold a job or a job to pay the bills should be also developing other streams of income. You see, what I do is I go out there and I comb the world for good key quality information. Any information that can help take your life from wherever it is now to wherever it is you would like to go. And what we share with you is very specific universal laws infused with the most modern day personal development understandings. And then any key core common elements that can help propel our lives forward towards this path to greatness together. And those of you who know my story, you know for years I went out there and I read all the books and I went to all the seminars. I learned anything I can learn about anything I can learn about anything. And I used the principle of neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the fact that the brain is like a muscle, and if we feed our brain new concepts, new insights, and new ideas, that we can make it stronger, that we can literally become more intelligent. And through brute force and sheer discipline, I would begin to create momentum in my life simply because I was just willing to work harder than anyone else. But time and time again, I would end up reaching these thresholds or these barriers. Now, in psychology, they call this subconscious self-sabotage or approach avoidance, where it's like you and I are going down the highway in an automobile, but with the emergency brake fully on. We want to move forward, but what happens if? And I'm here to tell you that a lot of people have these blockages or conflicts pertaining to money or relationships or success in many areas of their lives. Now, awareness in and of itself can sometimes be curative, but many are not aware because they do not teach us about this in the high school or college curriculums. And it often happens subconsciously. And it happens through limiting beliefs. There was two primary reasons why this was happening to me. Number one, limiting beliefs passed down from my childhood. And I can clearly identify where it originated from. My beautiful Italian grandmother. And as I said, my grandmother, who passed away at 99 years old, was a beautiful Italian soul, a lover of people, and a lover of life. And Grandma Nagy would never hurt a fly. However, her and my grandfather went through the Depression. Now, as you can imagine, those were very difficult times for them. And when my grandmother got frustrated or stressed, she had a habit of voicing these negative mantras. As innocent as it was, she would say things like, "Life is so hard. Everything is so expensive. Relationships are hell." She would say this in front of my grandfather. Kind of funny. Anyway, when we are children, we are like wide open books. We are like little sponges and we have an open psychology. Like I said earlier, a human being's most important need is the need for a sense of congruency within our identity through our belief systems. As children, we are starving for a blueprint or a model of the world. We are starving for something to hold on to as a set of beliefs. Now, my mother, who was just a child at the time, used to hear my grandmother voice these negative mantras. And guess what? On the unconscious level, she sort of picked it up as limiting beliefs. Now, my mother didn't really actually believe this consciously, but when we as human beings get depressed or down or stressed, we have the tendency to gravitate toward limitation or make things worse than they really are. Sure enough, as my mother began to approach into her adult years, she also adopted this tendency or habit to voice these negative mantras when things went wrong. And she did this when she got stressed or down. She would say things like, "Life is so hard. You can't trust anyone. And nothing ever works out." And guess who picked that up? That's right. Now, let's be very clear here. Neither my grandmother nor my mother would ever consciously want to ever hurt their children, obviously. In fact, my mother would do absolutely anything for us. But do you see how we must be very careful about the things we say around our children? This is the power of the word, my friend, and limiting beliefs can be passed down through generations like DNA. Conversely, if we speak uplifting, empowering, forward-thinking mantras, it can be just as effective in the creation of our greatest desires, dreams, and goals. Now, as many of you know, somewhere along the way toward my personal development, I had the privilege to meet a man, and one of my favorite mentors at the time, a man called Tony Robbins. Now, Tony and I are both helicopter pilot rock star wannabes, and when I met Tony, it was quite a profound experience for me in that I could clearly see this man came from the proper intent. I actually met him twice, and he remembered me. And you see, that day I met Tony not only changed the trajectory of my life, but it also showed me that not only was his message real, but the man himself was real. You see, when you meet someone like that face to face, you can clearly see and feel the person's heart, their spirit, and their essence. And I can see that, yes, Tony is a businessman and, of course, a great marketer, but the true intent was about his philanthropy. And that day forward, I knew I had to dedicate my life to a search within this personal development and spirituality. From there, like I said, I got fully engrossed in psychoneuroimmunology, neuroassociative conditioning, and neurolinguistic programming. Say that 10 times. But I kept reaching those damn thresholds. Now, the second reason why I was reaching thresholds was I was actually doubting this powerful universal law of attraction. The law of attraction says that whatever we focus upon within our experience can tend to become our experience, that we are self-fulfilling creatures and that thoughts can become things. Now, when I used to hear this, I used to think, well, that sounds nice, but to be honest, it sounds a little like a fairy tale. Well, the truth is, the law of attraction is in fact a law of physics, just like the law of gravity. I mean, think of it this way. If I was to tell you in the 1900s I was going to build a flying machine and fly a human being through the air, you would have told me I was crazy. But two bicycle mechanics from Ohio knew differently, didn't they? The Wright brothers. And they knew another powerful universal law known as Bernoulli's principle that says if you take a greater pressure of air and put it underneath an airfoil or an airplane wing, you can lift the fuselage of an aircraft. And you could do it ever so efficiently through power to weight that you can actually fly a human being inside this craft through the air. Well, just think about how crazy that sounds. And people vilified them. But they proved the world wrong. Well, as humanity continuously evolves through time, just like the Wright brothers had a greater understanding of Bernoulli's principle, we start to obtain a greater understanding of how the laws of this universe work. And that is what the law of attraction is about. Even in quantum physics, they are proving this powerful law. We are all spirits living in a material existence. I would think you would agree with me on that by now, right? And everything within this material world is made up from atoms. Well, in quantum discovery, scientists will take an atom and break it down subatomically. As they do this, they find all the elements an atom is made from, like protons, neutrons, and so forth. Now, if a scientist breaks the atom down further, they find these little pockets of energy called quarks. If they go down further than that, all they find is energy, information. So it's not something physical that binds this material world together. It is something metaphysical. Our thoughts are energy and information, levels of impulse projected outward. And there's another powerful universal law that says like attracts like. Water will seek its own level. So it be true that if we have good, empowering, positive, forward-thinking thoughts, this will attract good, empowering, positive situations and circumstances into our lives. Now, we are all spirits living in a material world, so we must infuse the material aspect of this due to the law of cause and effect and apply calculated, directed effort and action towards what we want. Conversely, if we have negative, judging, cynical, disempowering thoughts, it will also attract that. We are co-creators within this existence, my friends. You see, here I was, this guy, out there giving it all I got. But time and time again, I kept reaching thresholds or barriers because I wasn't controlling my internal dialogue. I had the discipline and the action part down, but I was doubting this principle of law of attraction, and I wasn't controlling my thoughts. I'm here to tell you a lot of people have these negative cyclical thought patterns. Why? Well, again, through the repetition of negative imagery and negative stories from the media. This often conditions our minds to preconceive the worst possible case scenario. We as humans do this as a protective mechanism, but it hurts us as to what we attract into our lives. Just go out to a local gathering like a bar or a place like that and just listen to people talk. Most people do not speak like this. Most of society is focused on what's wrong in life rather than what's going on that's right. Why? Because they've been trained to. Look at it this way. Let's say you and I are walking down the street and we're involved in a good conversation. And to the left of us is a newsstand. Now, on the front page of the newspaper of that newsstand, it says, today's going to be sunny and everything's great. Well, we're not going to notice that newsstand. However, on a different day, we're walking down the same street involved in a good conversation. To the left of us is a newsstand. On the front page of the newspaper of that newsstand, it says, Armageddon's coming, the end of the world is near, the sky is falling, and we're all going to die. What's going to happen? Well, most people will tell you there are two primary parts of the mind that we should be concerned with pertaining to success and moving forward, but there are actually three parts. First, there's the conscious part of your thinking. This is the outer layer of your brain. This is the cerebral cortex. This is the part of the brain that is responsible for your most intelligent operations, your conscious awareness, your personality. It is the person who I'm speaking to right here and right now. Then, of course, there's the other part, otherwise known as the internal psychological framework or the subjective of the subconscious mind. Now, we've all heard about the subconscious mind and how powerful it is. Right now, it's currently responsible for your autonomic responses. It beats your heart, it blinks your eyes, it breathes for you while you sleep. It dreams for you while you sleep in order to work through problems. The subconscious mind sees and hears everything. It never stops working on problems, and it takes in all the stimulus. However, its main concern is your survival. Now, first of all, most people have never been trained to condition the subconscious mind to break through barriers for success. So this is why a lot of people bounce back or retract back like an elastic band. Second of all, through the repetition of negative imagery, negative stories, this conditions our highly suggestible subconscious mind to come from that limiting framework, even into our adult years. People underestimate how suggestible our minds are, even as adults. Now, the third part of the mind that most people do not think about is another little mechanism known as the RAS, the reticular activating system, otherwise known as the ECMS or the extrathalamic control modulatory system. Now, this system allows stimulus to get into the conscious awareness. So think of it this way. The subconscious mind sees and hears everything, as we said. It takes in all the stimulus, but there's only a certain amount of conscious awareness we can consciously perceive as human beings at any one given realm of time. What determines what will get into our conscious awareness is this RAS or this ECMS. What determines what gets through the RAS into our conscious awareness is our beliefs or anything that pertains to our survival. So once again, we are self-fulfilling creatures. If we want to become wealthy and do well financially, and if we believe that, truly believe it, we will start to see opportunities that will help us become financially free. We live on a planet with massive opportunities. The problem is we've been dumbed down. Society has robbed us. Also, this is why the media focuses on limitation, negativity, and fear. It grabs our attention. Now, not to denounce this, of course, bad things do happen. Horrible things of extreme magnitude, even to good people. However, relevant to the size of this planet, what the media focuses on is just a small, tiny part of what's going on. Just look around you. On your way to work today, did you notice any murders, any killings, any wars, any disasters? Listen, we've got to get into perspective. We've got to understand that we live on a fruitful world. We've just got to take some action and a little persistence. In addition to that, I'm here to tell you, my friends, we have to control our thoughts. The best way to control our thoughts is through meditation. So start meditating every day. As I look back at everything I've been through, and those of you who know my story, you know I've been through a lot, I can clearly identify that the times I was controlling my focus and on a consistent meditation regimen, these were the times that have allowed me to break through barriers that may have been difficult in the past. Today, I offer you the same gift. Do not fall into the herd of the masses. Do not wind up like the most of the masses. Instead, control your internal dialogue. Control your thoughts. Choose empowering, powerful meanings out of adversities. Create your world to your greatest desire. If you do, I am sure you will push through limitations that may have held you back in the past. We are in this together, my friends, and I will see you at the top. Good luck. Today, feed your mind the proper input in order to get the right output. Ignore the TV. The TV is brain rot. Instead, feed your mind. Remember these principles and take them with you. Live full throttle, and we'll see you in the next audio. Go out there and get her done. Get her done good. Until next time, we'll see you then, and I'll see you soon. Bradley LeNart signing out.